Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. And yeah, this is strange, but if anyone wants to know where a lot of my ideas for videos where I give my opinion on come from, it's usually certain people that I follow either on Twitter, and it's just like certain people you follow. Sometimes you can message and you'll get a like they'll click the heart, but it's the ones that really respond to you and you end up having like conversations with that they're the ones that usually influence me on making certain videos and giving my opinion on. And it was just something on New Year's Day today that a Vex viewer posted on Demon Slayer because he finally watched it, got up to date with it, and he's like, "Yeah, this is a well crafted anime." And in my opinion, with Demon Slayer, I see it as potential. It has potential. It's its first season. That's why when everybody goes nuts and says this is the anime of the decade, this is the anime of the year, I'm just like, I have one rule with that. I will never vote a show that only has one season as an anime of a decade or an anime of the year possibility. Oh, anime of the year, yeah, because you can get yeah, anime of the year you can, not anime of the decade. Uh, unless intentionally it's a one season show and there's no more seasons. Then there's a possibility of that. But with Demon Slayer, it's clear this is going to become like a shonen type show. This is going to continue. This is going to get many more seasons going forward. Um, so shows like that, it's like My Hero Academia when first season came out. I would never have turned around and said that's anime of the decade. I was well aware of the manga, and I was like, I want to see how they animate it, how well they do, and how well they depict things before you give any credit to My Hero. Um, Demon Slayer is the same thing because a lot of basics go through, and the one issue I had, I was one of the rare people in the fandom when we saw episode 19. That's the episode where Demon Slayer went viral. It was trending on Twitter. People were going nuts. All of a sudden, all these casual viewers that have never heard of it, never wanted to give Demon Slayer the light of day, all of a sudden they're watching it. Because that's how casual viewers work. They are the real, like, I'm sorry to say, this is my personal opinion. Casual viewers are the scum of the anime community because they only watch whatever's trending. They don't really give a shit about anime. I mean, the shit literally has to be famous for them to watch it. So Demon Slayer wasn't trending, they didn't watch it. As soon as it trended for one day, all of a sudden every idiot was watching it. And with episode 19, let me point this out before I tell you my problem with it. Visually, it's stunning. The animators deserve the biggest clap. They pulled off some real good shit. They put in work. So proud of the animation team for Demon Slayer. Visually standing, the entire show is visually amazing to look at. It's what got me into the show. And I will continue watching it despite the issues I have with the show. It is visually standing. But I will not turn around and say it's anime of the decade or it's a great, fantastic show just because it's visually stunning. My expectations with shows are they have to be all round good. You have to have good writing, you need to have good sound, you need to have good visuals, you need to bring the whole package together for it to be this real masterpiece of a show. And I don't think, especially with episode 19, it did not hit that bar because it was visually stunning. The score, the music was amazing. But the scene that went viral, where they're caught in the spiders, where both of our protagonists, Nezuko and Tanjiro, are caught in the spider's web, they're pretty much 1 second from death. And this was essentially the power up scene. Now, power-up scenes in the anime community are seen as good and bad, because it's like you've ridden yourself into a corner, so you activate some power-up in order to get yourself out of the corner. And in those situations, if your power-up is not handled properly, it's a deus ex machina. You've pulled it out of your ass so you can get yourself out of a riding corner that you put yourself into. That's never a good thing. Ever. Using a deus ex machina with bad writing is never a good thing. And I saw this scene, like, it legitimately pissed me off. I mean, I was impressed by the visuals, I love the music, but I was literally pissed off because up to this point, I'd enjoyed Demon Slayer so much for what it was trying to do. And, like, it took... In some shows, training arcs don't last long. They go a few episodes, but in this, despite his training arc lasting only like an episode or two, when you actually watch the episode, you get the feeling that years have gone by. His age, like 3 years, I think, is his training out in the forest. It's friggin' amazing. You get this depth to the character that they are working for what they obtain, and that's a very good thing in writing. It's a very good thing in Demon Slayer. But what happened when he was backed into the corner is, like, he's a second from death. The bad guy's like, I'm gonna finish you off. And in that second, before he's about to die, it's like time must have frozen, because in his head he's gone, you know what? My dad used to do this fire dance to ward off demons back in the day, where he used to stand outside and, you know, do this weird fucking fire dance. And he's just like, I'm gonna take that fire dance, apply it to me holding a sword. So I'm gonna do the fire dance while holding my sword, and hopefully that will activate some ability that I'll pull out of my ass that will be strong enough to defeat this current bad guy. And Nezuko is just as guilty, because she has never displayed any hints of what her demon art was up to this point. She hasn't been training. As far as we've seen with Nezuko, she's been in the fucking box, and she's physically strong and fast. She's never displayed any, like, supernatural power. We're aware that demons have really powerful abilities, but we're not yet sure how they inherit the abilities. We're aware that they, you know, drink the blood of a different demon and they get turned into a demon, but how the ability that they get, we're not sure, like, how they inherit it. Is it purposely given to them? And in Nezuko's case, it's much more different. So I'm just like, for her to be like, oh, I'm trapped, I can't move, the shit's cutting into me, and she just, like, goes, blood art, blood explosion, and you're just like, how did she know her ability was blood explosion? Like, is it, like, and she has no ties to, like she's got 2 demon friends, but even when she was with them, like, Nezuko's a really fucked up case. I like her, she's a cute character, and I like how she acts, but, like, she's weird. So yeah, that scene really actually pissed me off, despite the fact that it was visually stunning and had good music. It was just like, there was no way to know that your father's dancing in the snow was actually going to be applied to the sword arts. It's like, that was just a huge pull out of your ass. And then you remember, he's been trained by the former water pillar, the guy with the ogre mask. He's been trained by him for 3-4 years. Not once did he bring up this fire dance. He's met multiple people, and he's never brought this up. And then he just pulls it out of his ass at the last fucking minute. I was just like, this is shit. This is fucking garbage. And then afterwards, he meets the Hashiras, he meets the fucking pillars, and he doesn't bring it up there. He's like, hey, I just used this fire ability, and it is fucking OP. It's stronger than the water ability, and it only has, like, 1 ability so far. The water ability has, like, 9 or 10 different arts. And his fire ability, he just used one, and it fucking made his water abilities look like shit. So I'm just like, well, you just met the pillars, and you're getting trained by the insect pillar. I'm just like, why not bring up your fire art? Get some fucking training in this shit. And you're like, I was like, the ass pull ruined a lot of what I liked about Tanjiro as a character. I liked that he had to work to gain the power that he had. I liked that we met the Water Pillar multiple times, and he has like a very Levi attitude where he's emotionless. And we discovered that the Water Pillar, knows abilities in the water technique that Tanjiro doesn't, so it shows it's someone he can look up to and shit. I thought they could have just continued with this. This fire shit just like really was not something I was a fan of in Demon Slayer. And Nezuko, something that happened with the Hashiras, the pillars, that like this is where I'm not sure what they were going for. Some people interpreted this next scene as female empowerment or the will of her family and resisting, and I think like because the wind pillar the wind Hashira, who's got the crazy eyes and everything, he legit just cuts his arm and he's dripping blood right in front of Nezuko, and he's like, oh, she will attack me because she's a demon and then we can kill the bitch. And I like his character. I can understand zealot type characters that have, because that's their character. They've been brought up in this atmosphere. They're very loyal to their foundation. And with Nezuko, people were like, "Oh, look at her willpower. Oh, she loves her family so much." And I'm just like, no. This has nothing to do with Nezuko's willpower. It has nothing to do with the will of the family. Is everyone still watching Demon Slayer? If not, go back, watch it a second time. Nezuko is brainwashed. The guy who taught Tanjiro the water techniques and trained him in the forest, the ogre guy, he brainwashed Nezuko. You could say at this point in time, everything Nezuko's doing, she's essentially a slave demon. She's a slave demon. She's not making choices. Like when we first meet her in the first episode, after she's been turned into a demon, she chooses then, out of her free will, I think it is then, to protect him. But after she gets brainwashed, there is no willpower after that. It's in her head. She's constantly viewing humans as people she has to protect instead of attack. She's brainwashed to think that way. So when it gets to the Hashira scene and he's bleeding and he's like, do that, she's not attacking him because it's willpower. She's not attacking him because she's brainwashed not to. She's brainwashed to protect humans. So I was like, that fell out with me. And a lot of the pillars, because it was our first time meeting the Hashira as the pillars, quite a few of them came across as just standard generic tropes. And the one that really got to me, and I swear this was my initial reaction when I was watching the episode of Meeting the Pillars, the Flame Pillar, I legit paused the episode and I was like, that's Togata from My Hero Academia. If you took Togata from My Hero Academia, gave him a sword and fire abilities, that's him to a fucking T. Mr. Optimistic Boss. Yes, I will kill people for you. I'm very loud. I will kill people for you. I was like, wow, a lot. And the love pillar reminded me of the My Hero Academia Big Three chick. They're exactly the same, and I was just like, wow. I'm actually looking forward to the movie, which the Flame Pillar is a part of, because I'm hoping that there's more to him instead of just being this loud, obnoxious pillar. I hope there's actually some depth to his character. If not, I fear that this show might go down a very standard, generic trope with a lot of the characters you meet. And the reason I don't think it will is when we met the insect pillar, as well as the rest of her family in the household when Tanjiro and that were getting the training. We got her backstory and shit, and I was just like, I was really impressed by their backstory. So I'm holding up that they continue to do that going forward. Um, if I have any expectations, I was like Tanjiro, either in the movie with the flame pillar or going, because I'm pretty sure the flame pillar is gonna die in the fucking movie. I wouldn't be goddamn surprised. Um, but going forward in either the movie or the season 2, he has to start talking about his flame abilities. This has to become a priority, like really, like halfway through the movie or very early season 2, he has to start developing this shit. In terms of just other things that are rarely, uh, I like Tanjiro as I said because he's working for his abilities. Nezuko, I like the I like the brother sister dynamic there. Um, Zensu I don't like. I'm one of the few who legitimately I can't stand watching Zensu on screen. That lightning bastard. At first, when we got introduced to him, I was just like, oh, so he's a scaredy runt, type character. He's that type of shit. But Demon Slayer took the scaredy type character, injected him with cocaine, ecstasy, ice, and every known drug known to man, times that by 9,000, and now it's in your face. Annoying. And his ability, where he really only activates his OP lightning abilities when he's like asleep or unconscious, that comes across as an ass pull. It's just like whenever they're in battle and like when they were on the spider mountain and he was getting his ass kicked, I'm just like, dude, just like knock yourself out. Like if you know you're a coward and that your abilities come out when you're unconscious, just knock yourself out. Just headbutt yourself against a fucking tree and knock yourself out, and then your unconscious body's just gonna beat the shit out of Spider Girl. I'm like, Zensu is an ass pull character, straight like how his character's designed. He's ass pull itself because he'll always lose at the beginning. It'll build up to some kind of threat, and then he'll pull this lightning shit out of his ass that will just OP everything. And I wasn't a huge fan of that. Like, I wish that Inosuke actually had the lightning release. Like, I get what they're going for with Inosuke's character. Inosuke is one of my favorite characters in the show. I like his comedic side. He's got this Tarzan feel. I like how he interacts with modern society. Um, and his pride. His pride is his weakness, and the best thing about him. It's friggin' amazing to see how he wants to just fight everything. Like he thinks he can take everything on. I love watching Inosuke be like that. But the one disappointing thing is after the season was done, I googled Inosuke's abilities, his sword arts. I was curious, like what they were. I was so curious. I googled it and spoiled it for myself. And a lot of his sword arts going forward are shit. That like, whereas you look at Tanjiro with his water and it's so flashy, it's fucking beautiful. Zen's got this amazing lightning shit, looks magnificent. Inosuke's are just like physical brutal attacks. It's like he'll hit you really hard and he'll be like sword art, big bitching hit move, and you're just like, that's not a sword art, man. You're just naming standard attacks that you do. Like the only thing that even comes across as interesting is when he stabbed the swords into the ground and it scanned the area, and you could say that's even science. He's actually pulled science out of his ass. That's a tuning fork. Uh, so yeah, I'm not looking forward to Inosuke's abilities going forward. He's majorly there because he's in your face comedy, and it's nice to watch. But yeah, just ending up this, I just think that Demon Slayer for the first season, it's got enough positives going for it that I will continue watching it. But Zen is a headache to watch. I can't put up with his attitude. That's friggin' annoying. And I'm really hoping they fix up Tanjiro's character concerning his abilities. I don't want to see any more ass pulls in this series going forward. I hope they really develop the characters. So while I am listing things that I don't like about the series, given that it's only the first season, this is the time in a show where you can say this show has potential. Season 1, with the amount of work that went into it, you can say this show has potential. Whereas in hindsight with RWBY, you're at volume 7. This show doesn't have potential. This show doesn't have fucking potential at all. It's showed you too much. Season 1 of Demon Slayer, it's shown you the basics. It's got its good parts, it's got its flaws, it knows what it has to work on, and that's why I'm gonna watch the movie and watch season 2. And would I say it's anime of the decade? Definitely not. I've had more fun with other shows. Anime of the year? No. And this just might, like, I've started Vinderland Saga. This shit's amazing. I love Vinderland Saga. Very good. I actually enjoyed Fire Force, I would say, more than Demon Slayer at this point. Demon Slayer looks more beautiful. The visuals, even though I like the art style, I like the visuals of Fire Force. Demon Slayer did it better. You can tell the animators have put a ton of work into it. But I think the character development and the story development of Fire Force is better than Demon Slayer. Like, Demon Slayer would have got my vote for story and character development in the first half of the first season. That's when it really shined. The later half, it became too generic and tropey, and as I said, there were arse pulls here and there. With Fire Force, it had the opposite effect. You struggle to get into Fire Force watching the first half of the season. But if you really just keep with it, have patience, and give it a chance, watch the whole thing throughout, by the time you get to the end of Fire Force Season 1, you're just in shock and awe. Like, you're dripping and salivating for the next season. You're like, we need to know what the fuck happens next. It delivers beautiful story, beautiful character, beautiful visuals. So I will say Fire Force and Demon Slayer, even though I didn't go into full detail with Fire Force, I would say they're equally on par with each other. And personally, because of Fire Force finishing stronger, in my opinion, than Demon Slayer, it's a tiny bit above, but that's only based on the perception of how you view the shows. Both shows equally have as much potential to be great shonen shows going forward. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But I'd give them both like probably about a 7.5. Both shows deserve a 7.5 out of 10. Very engaging, lots of potential going forward, and that's my views on Demon Slayer.